Welcome to our weekly program, The Inside Story of Chabad in America through the Mindel archives. Last week I mentioned about the importance of carrying the Rebbe's dollar in your wallet or the Rebbe's picture or bechal a chitas. Whenever you travel in your car, always have a chitas and a tzedakah pushke. And this is what the Rebbe said to many people: have a tzedakah pushke and a chitas in your car. Now, we know many stories of tzaddikim, lav davke Chabad, not Chabad davke. In many things, we know from the Baal Shem Tov, that the Baal Shem Tov gave people, it's called a kameya. Kameya means an item of a mystical, something, a kameya, to hold a kameya. I don't know what that is, but something to a tzaddik gave. So today, since we're talking about having a carrying always a dovish b'kedusha wherever you go, I want to tell you a story, and this was an Hey Tevis. Now, this has nothing to do with the Yontif, with the big Yontif of Hey Tevis, which we are now around the Yontif Hey Tevis, but it happened. I happened to be somewhere by a bris in Long Beach, Long Island. Went with my wife. I was invited on Hey Tevis. So I thought I would share with you this story. It's an interesting story. I went to Long Beach. But there's a Rabbi Abitan, Olav Sholem. He was an Ogi Sheit. He was a Sephardic Rav. He's a big Rav. And there was in the shul there was a big bris, and I went with my wife. I was sitting after the bris eating. Across the table was sitting a man, middle-aged man, older man, and he says to me, I guess he wanted to get into conversation. He said to me, "Are you Chabad? No, not Chabad. Are you a Lubavitcher?" That's what he meant. Are you a Lubavitcher? So I said, yes, I'm a Lubavitcher. He says, I want to tell you something. I was not, he says, and even now he doesn't think he is, religious. I was not religious at all, he says, years ago, at all. He even once he went, his bar mitzvah, he went to a Reformed temple, but that's it. Wasn't religious at all. Never put on film. In the Reformed temple, he says he never put on film. So he says, we were married many years. I think he said 11, 12 years. And he didn't have children. And his wife, Mama, she was going to doctors. He told me Chicago and to Denver. I don't know why he told me then. And and to doctors, and the doctor says it's nothing we can do. I met somebody who was not a Lubavitcher, and I told him about this. So he said, why don't you go to a rabbi, to a great rabbi, and talk to him about this problem? I mean, he says to me, I was laughing. He says he doesn't believe in all this, but so he says, and again, next week, a week later, he called him again, and he bothered him. He says, there are 3 rabbis, great rabbis in New York. He says, there is a Satmar Rebbe, the old Satmar Rebbe, Rabbi Yoel, Zatzal. Then there was a Bobover Rebbe, the old Bobo Zatzal, old Bobover Rebbe. And then there is the Lubavitcher Rebbe. And first of all, you can choose who you want to go to. And why don't you go to all of them? But I'll tell you, I think that the Lubavitcher Rebbe, the appointment is much, it's hard to get in. But so make an appointment. What are you going to lose? I mean, this man was a well-to-do man. Says Sundays you're off. Why don't you go? You're not going to lose anything. Anyways, it took him a long time to convince him. So he says, okay. So he went to the Satmar. Why? First, because he's older. He came to the Satmar Rebbe. He tells me, And he told the Satmar Rebbe that he needs a bracha for children. He told me, went to doctors. So the Satmar Rebbe gave him a kameya, a something. It looks like a napkin, and a piece of cloth, and sewed around, thick cloth, sewed around the cloth. In the middle was something hard. And he says to him, don't ever open this, and always carry this in your pocket, except Shabbos and Yom Tov. That's all. So he took it. Then, I don't know, a week later, 2 weeks later, he went to the Baba Rebbe. He says, why don't you put in a yarmulke? He says, yarmulke will remind you that there's a God in the world. Wear a yarmulke. Anyways, finally he got an appointment to the Rebbe. I'm saying it bekitzer. So first of all, he says, he came into the Lubavitcher Rebbe. He says, he spent more time there than by the Satmar Rebbe, by the Bobover, because the Rebbe took an interest in his life. He says he was sitting maybe 10 minutes asking him, where you come from, what do you do? He saw that he's interested. With the other Rebbes, he says, they just gave me a this and I left. He was very interested in where I come from, very interested. Then the Rebbe took out a pair of tefillin. And the Rebbe gave him tefillin. Put on tefillin every day. And the Rebbe gave him a bracha. Bekitzer. So, what happened? So, about 19 months later, he had a girl. He had a girl. So he said, do you want to see the girl? I said, of course. So he took me to the Ezras Noshim. My wife was sitting there. And we went to the Ezras Noshim. The wife was there with the child. By the bris. So I told the wife that what the husband said about the whole story with how she was born, miracle. So I said to the wife, tell me, who did the miracle? Did the Satmar Rebbe do the miracle? Did the Bobover Rebbe do the miracle? Or did the Lubavitcher Rebbe? So she says to me, Rabbi, I really don't know who did the miracle. This thing that the Satmar Rebbe gave him, he's carrying. So standing there, I asked him, do you have it with you? Yeah, he took it out. He took out his pocket, he's still carrying it. He says, years later, he always carries it. He never, so I saw where it looks like a piece of cloth. She says, I don't know what it is, but he always has it. Never leaves it except Shabbos and Yom Tov. Yarmulke, when he eats, he puts on a yarmulke. When he goes to work, he doesn't. So he doesn't. But one thing I'll tell you, she says, he puts on film every single day. He goes to shul because of this every single day. And you know, we changed a lot of things in the house only because of that film. But I don't know who did the miracle. It's a very, very, I wanted to share this story with you. Now, one more thing I want to say, because we are now, tomorrow is Asara B'Tevis, and Asara B'Tevis is a very important fast day. That's why even if it falls on Friday, like this year, you still have to fast Asara B'Tevis. So I once mentioned to you that my father-in-law had to eat Rabbi Midel had to eat every 3 hours. The doctors had instructions. So he once went to the Frierdiker Rebbe and he asked him what to do on Tisha B'Av. So he says, Tisha B'Av, he says, ask a Rav. And then before he left the room, he called him back and he says, don't forget to ask a kluger Rav, ask a smart Rav. A Rav has to be, besides the 4 chalokim of Shulchan Aruch, so anyway, so he went to Rabbi Shmuel Levitin and he told him, the Rebbe said, ask a kluger Rav. So he said, if the Rebbe says, ask a kluger Rav, you can eat Tisha B'Av half a day. The fake Rebbe was very much that he should eat, and he didn't, not to fast. So here I found a letter from the Frierdiker Rebbe to Rabbi Mindel, just a few lines about the fast. Yedidi oiz vasig v'chasid ishir elkim remnissen shalom v'rocha. But zeh hineni levakshay, I am begging you, asher machar, tomorrow, in Mirza Hashem, Lo yisane klal. Don't fast at all. Afilu sho achas. Even 1 hour, don't fast. Ve'im habakoshe lo yayil. If what I'm asking will not help, azai hineni mitzave olav bifkuda chazako. I am demanding from you with a strong demand that I don't want you to fast, even though it's a big fast. But if something that he should not, because my father-in-law wanted to fast, maybe later he should not fast at all. And then he writes, instead, v'yitin tzedakah chay reva shekel. He should give instead tzedakah. V'Hashem yizbarach yi yobezer megashmis uvruchnis, and the Frierdiker Rebbe signed his name. So since Atzara B'Tevis, I thought I would mention to you this. We all have to fast, of course, but if somebody he shouldn't overdo it. He should give tzedakah. That's what he told him. So this I want to share with you. Mitzvah Shem, next week we'll continue our weekly program. Thank you.